And children, let me continue the lesson. Now next we have to see about the one of the cellular organ, mitochondria. It is the most important cell organelle. It's the most important cell organelle. There are many organelles present in the cell, that is Golgi bodies, ribosome, endoplasmic reticulum, vacuoles, lysosomes. So the important part is mitochondria because it's known as powerhouse of the cell. We have to see the structure of mitochondria. So when observing the structure, the mitochondria was first introduced by, that is discovered by Kolik. He is the inventor of the mitochondria. So it has double membranous structure. Mitochondria is double membranous, that is outer membrane and then inner membrane. Inner membrane has the foldings like this. Outer membrane and inner membrane. This is outer. This one is what? Inner membrane. So outer membrane is smooth and it's permeable. Permeable means it can allow all the things to get into it. Then inner membrane, it is impermeable, that is it does not allow all the particles to get into the cell, only it filtered. How the filter helps us to remove the suspensions, like that it can remove all the unwanted things and selected things only will say get into the mitochondria. So inside the thing we can see the mitochondrial matrix. This is mitochondrial matrix. In the mitochondrial matrix, you can see a thread-like structure, that is DNA. Then we can see like this is cytosomes, and you can see the ribosomes also in this. So together, all the particles present in the mitochondria help in production of saving the energy. So whatever the energy it saves in the form of ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. So what is the structure of mitochondria? There is an external, that is two covered filamentous. So outside is known, first one is known as outer membrane and the second one is inner membrane. Inner membrane, we have many projection, the finger-like projection, this is known as cristae. So this makes the surface area more. This cristae extends the surface area of the inner part. So it has inner membrane, outer membrane, and inside the matrix you can see DNA, ribosomes, as well as oxysome. Other part is there, that is oxysome. This oxysome, cristae is a finger-like projection, helps in powerhouse, helps in saving the energy. Oxysome, it is like some tennis bat, like it is a structure. It has the head as well as tail and between the stalk. So that also help. All together they are working together and saves the energy in the form of ATP. ATP, adenosine triphosphate. It is otherwise known as powerhouse of the cell or else currency cell. Mitochondria is otherwise known as powerhouse, energy cell. This mitochondria not only saves the energy, even it helps in respiration also. So respiration, we know everybody knows what is respiration. That is exchange of gases between the organism and the environment is known as what? Respiration. Second what I have to take is respiration. Let me rub the board. Next we have to say respiration. What's the definition I gave for respiration? This is exchange of gases between the environment and the organism. You know what is environment? That is the surrounding is known as environment. Organisms, that is a living things, either plants, animals, whatever it may be. What are the things have life is known as what? Living things. So this respiration normally occurs in thing, but for the plants it occurs in two ways. One is cellular respiration. Other one is active respiration. That is, respiration is nothing else, it is exchange of gases between the organism and the environment. So, exchange of gases means oxygen is taken in and carbon dioxide, water vapor is released. This is with the help of some other organs present in the plants as well as in animals. So, cellular respiration, further we can divide them into aerobic and anaerobic. There are two kinds of respiration, cellular respiration. One is aerobic, other one is anaerobic. In this, aerobic is complicated process because it has many stages, but anaerobic is the simplest one. So, aerobic can be seen in higher organism only, anaerobic can be seen in lower organism. That is, higher organism means animal which are eukaryotic cell. Already we have studied in the lower classes what is eukaryotic and prokaryotic. Let me recall now. Eukaryotic, it has many cells, and prokaryotic, it has unicellular. So, eukaryotic organisms are many cell, it has many cells, multicellular. Prokaryotic organism is only one cell it has, it is unicellular. So, here we can see the nucleus and it has well membrane, nuclear membrane. This is no proper nucleus, no proper nucleus and no proper membrane. These are the differences between prokaryotic and eukaryotic. Prokaryotic organism, it's made up of only one cell, so it is known as unicellular animal. Eukaryotic, it is made with many cells and multicellular organism. Prokaryotic, it doesn't have well developed nucleus and nuclear membrane. But eukaryotic, it has well developed nucleus and nuclear membrane. So, aerobic respiration can be seen in only eukaryotic animals. Here, it has 4 stages. The first one is glycolysis. And the second one is Krebs cycle. And the third one is electron transport chain. Electron transport chain, it's known as ETC. So, first one is glycolysis. On saying the name itself we know. So, what is involved in this? Glucose. Glucose, starch, carbohydrate all resembles the same only. That is the food of the plants. The food what is prepared by the plant is known as what? Glucose. This glucose, it has 6 carbon atoms. How many are carbon atoms? 6 carbon atoms. During glycolysis, the 6 carbon atom oxidized and become 2 molecules of 3 carbon oxide. That is otherwise known as pubic acid. Pubic acid. So, glycolysis, it is the stage of oxidation of glucose, that is 6 carbon atom of glucose decomposes into 2 moles, that is 3 carbon atom. Every atom consists of 3 carbons and it has 2 molecules. This is known as pubic acid. This glycolysis occurs in cytoplasm. So, everything that and all one word answers for us, where does glycolysis occur? So, you have to write what? It occurs in cytoplasm. So, when it converted into pubic acid, it enters into the Krebs cycle. This is second stage. Here, it occurs in matrix of mitochondria. Here, it occurs in matrix of mitochondria in the Krebs cycle. The pubic acid is Further it enters into the Krebs cycle and further it is converted into ions, electrical ions. So this process from it goes to the third level. This is known as electrons transport chain, ETC. Here only the energy is stored. After all the process, energy is stored in the form of ATP. This is stored in mitochondria. This is aerobic respiration. It has 3 stages: glycolysis, Krebs cycle and electron transport chain. Here 6 carbon molecules is converted into 2 molecules of pubic acid. That pubic acid enters into the Krebs cycle. Here it is further reduced into electron ions and it transported in the form of things. So it is known as ATP, that is the energy is known as ATP, adenosine triphosphate. The reaction totally ETC, that is electron transport chain, is otherwise known as ETC. This is aerobic process. Then anaerobic, here oxygen is not at all necessary. Here oxidized, here it is reduced, there is no oxygen. In the absence of oxygen, anaerobic taken place. It takes place only in the lower organism. This is without oxygen. It is in the presence of oxygen. This is without oxygen. Here, this glucose is converted into ethanol or lactic acid. There is no stages like this. The first one, glycolysis, I said no, oxidized. This is common for both aerobic and anaerobic. In the anaerobic respiration, we cannot say Krebs cycle as well as electron transport chain, because it's the lower organisms, only one cell is made up of only one celled animal. There is no such heavy process. So this may be converted into ethanol or lactic acid. Ethanol is converted into ethanol is converted by yeast. It is decomposed by yeast. This is known as fermentation. Then lactic acid, it is converted by bacteria. So the energy is converted into ethanol by fermentation by the microorganism yeast, or else it may converted into lactic acid by the microorganism bacteria. So these are the 2 processes, 2 respirations found in the plants, that is in the higher as well as lower. Not only plants, even in the animals also, which is made up of one celled animal, anaerobic respiration, aerobic respiration by multicellular animals. So totally there are 3 differences. This is in the presence of air, aerobic in the presence of air, anaerobic in the absence of air. So aerobic has 3 stages: glycolysis, Krebs cycle and electron transport chain. In anaerobic, only glycolysis occur, but other 2, that is Krebs cycle and electron transport chain, is not occur. Here it is fermented. Here ethanol is fermented by yeast and lactic acid is fermented by bacteria. These are the respirations. Then we can find out the respiratory quotient, that is nothing else. Respiratory quotient, that is volume of carbon dioxide liberated with the ratio of volume of oxygen liberated. This is known as respiratory quotient. So by completing this, we can complete the first lesson. So let us recall the main thing. You have to say differentiations. What are the differences between? First we have seen what is cell. Cell is the basic unit of living organism. Living organism can be divided into unicellular and multicellular. Unicellular is made up of one cell and multicellular by many cells. And we have seen the tissues, cells of the same kind joined together and form the tissues. Tissues may be different or similar, they perform the same function. The plant tissue, we have seen there are 3 kinds of tissues, that is ground tissue, vascular tissue and epidermal tissue. In this vascular tissue is very important, I said, because it has xylem and phloem. Xylem conducting food particles, xylem conducting water particles, phloem conducting food particles. So these are the organs which takes the water and minerals through from the root to the top of the tree. Then we have seen the differences monocot and dicot plant. monocot, one cotyledon, fibrous root, it can be easily uprooted. Dicot, taproot system, it has taproot, two cotyledons, it cannot be easily uprooted. Example for monocot is what I say, maize, paddy, this and all. Here we can see all the higher animals, higher plants. Then we have to go for, what other thing we have seen, plants, dicot root, dicot stem, dicot leaf, the same like monocot, monocot leaf, monocot stem, everything. Then we have to go for the plastid, which is the organ which gives the green color to the plants. We have seen the plastids, there are three kinds of plastids, chloroplast, chromoplast and leucoplast. I see what are the colors they are giving to the plants. Next we will go for mitochondria, which is very important organ, that's the power of the cell. There are two kinds of respiration can be seen, that is aerobic and anaerobic. Aerobic in the higher plants and higher animals, anaerobic in the lower plants and lower animals. It has many stages, that has only one stage. So which is common for both the aerobic and anaerobic means glycolysis. Aerobic in the presence of air, anaerobic in the absence of air. So the ratio between the carbon dioxide and oxygen is known as respiratory quotient. That is how much of volume of carbon dioxide leads to the atmosphere, how much of volume of oxygen is taken by the atmosphere. This is known as respiratory quotient. So by concluding this, I will conclude my lesson. One lesson we are thorough. So what are the important questions given at the back of the book as well as in between what I said very important, this may be 2 mark, 5 mark, that and all you should learn. We will see in the next class. Thank you.